Hi and welcome to the next. Today we are going to build a small micro ATX cabinet based computer using the latest chipset out there in the market from AMD, which is B550. We plan to make it as a gaming rig for the friend of Olaf there. The good thing about this cabinet is that it has a lot of inputs for the air. So it has 240 radiator or 120 fan input at the bottom, exhaust again the same at the top, and it has front intake of another 2 into 120 fans in the front. It has RGB. By the way, we will not be using Corsair RGB fans. We will be using Cooler Master because we just want all the fans to be even, and for that throughout we're going to be using Cooler Master. We'll probably end up having 6 fans in the overall computer. So that's the take. Wow. So the cabinet itself looks really beautiful, though I have not formally unboxed it yet. Let's go ahead and see what comes in the cabinet. Thermal Take V21 cabinet, which I happen to have, and I love that cabinet as well. So we will use that for our Hackintosh build. For now, we're going to be using this for our build itself. I would be removing all the tempered glass before I start off with the installation part, just to make sure that we do not have any glass on the surface, so we don't want to accidentally break it. So we have taken apart most of the top part of the cabinet. There is a box of accessories that comes with it. I think it's mostly screws and nuts, and of course some cable ties, just something generic with most of the cabinet and their accessories. Happen to have 2 drive bays at the back for your 3.5-inch hard drives. We won't be using them because we're going to be using 2.5-inch drives. 2 of them, by the way, 2 terabyte each, so we have enough storage on RAID 0 for installation of all those Steam library games. And on top of everything else, we would be throwing in a terabyte of SSD for the boot. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and unwind the whole cabinet, and once I'm done with that, I will put in the motherboard, processor and memory inside and get on to the next part. Okay, so the reason that we are choosing a B550 motherboard instead of an X570 is one, it's cheap. It's cheap when it comes to a comparison between an X570 micro ATX and a B550 micro ATX. The other reason is that it has enough Gen 4 lanes for us to get our tasks done. So we have one PCI Express slot for our graphics card, and then it does support Gen 4 M.2 drive. So in future, if we want to go from our existing Gen 3 drive to a Gen 4 drive, and when I say drive, SSD, we should be able to do this upgrade without any hassles. And on top of that, it has a substantially strong VRM power delivery system, as we all know. So that makes it no-brainer to go for a B550. It just happens to check all of our boxes in this case. Okay, so we are finally done with our build. It was a very easy build, as you can see. We ended up putting all 6 fans in it. Initially we thought that it only supports 240 of a rad, but actually if we look at the cutouts, it can accommodate a 280 rad. Do remember, if you put a 280 rad on the top or in the front, you lose the option of using either one of those fans which are adjacent. So either you will not be able to put in the top front fan, or you will not be able to use the second top fan if you use the rad the other way around. Now at the bottom, it does have all the dust filters that you need. One thing that I really didn't understand is the top dust filter, because if the dust is going out, then why do you need a dust filter? I could only justify that the Corsair intend not to have dust accumulated on the glass itself, but having said that, I don't feel that it will do any good. So I didn't use the top dust filter or the front dust filter for that matter. rather I will be doing a regular maintenance of the case. So it can accommodate a lot of cables. We did use ARGB splitters for the front and the bottom RGB fans, and it was pretty much able to do everything. So let's quickly look at the gaming performance and thermals of the case. So as we can see at the thermals, we see that CPU maxes out at 78 degrees when pushed through a Prime 95 benchmark, and we also see that the graphics card is cool enough to up to 73 to 75 degrees when we are doing a firmware test for 5 minutes on the graphics card. So the case has a lot of positive airflow, and it reflects in the performance or the thermal performance of the case. So the motherboard was really solid, especially in the thermal performance when the processor was peaking out at 100% usage. It was able to sustain itself between 62 to 68 degrees of VRM temperature, which I personally like, because in a B550 motherboard on which this processor was before would go up to 83 to 85 degrees, although it's not an alarming temperature, but it's still hot, and that actually reflects the board VRM was not capable enough to have that much of a power delivered to the CPU. So Legos in this case comes to save the day. We use them as our graphic card holder, thanks to the kids that play with my Legos. So do this DIY at home if you have Legos lying around. Believe me, it's a lifesaver. So you will not be bothered with the graphics card bending or motherboard bending or PCI Express slot bending. And it's actually a big relief to have a graphics card holder, especially when you're using much heavier graphics card than usual. Do hit like, subscribe to our channel, and do share our videos. And please leave a comment down below what you want to see next. What is the build that you really are interested in seeing next, and we should be able to arrange that for you. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you are getting regular updates on our channel whenever the latest video uploads. The next, I know it's been pending, but the next is absolutely Hackintosh build that we want to do, and Pi-hole tutorials for making your own wormhole of internet advertisements. So stay tuned for our next one, and I'll see you. Thank you.